What's up, guys? It's Radar. Today we're going to be looking at the new Quilboars patch. They are nerfing Quilboars like I recommended in the previous video. This tribe is way too strong. I think the patch is coming later today, so let's jump right into it, get an idea of what we should be looking for and how we should be playing the games post-patch. So first up, we have Road Boar. This card is a problem in its current form because it gains +1/+1 every turn. Essentially, it's like a gold grubber, but you get it early game. It also enables like really broken synergies if you have it early game, but then you can't buff it. So there's a trade-off. What did they change? Well, they gave it one less attack, which is a really big deal. Early game attack stuff matters a lot. Like a 1/4 is going to lose to a 2/3, but a 2/4 will tie with a 2/3. 2/3 is a very, very common stat line. Think of the dragon, the murloc. It's just going to matter a lot. But they didn't take away the scaling, and the big health means that it's going to be a 2/5 the turn afterwards and a 3/6, and it's going to pretty quickly get relevant. But it gets online a lot slower, and I do feel like this minion is the kind of minion that like, what's the word? If it doesn't get going, like if you get unlucky with it, say for example you hit a minion that has 4 attack early, like that can really hurt the minion's overall scaling. Like anytime you miss, it's like a hangry dragon. When you miss your hangry dragon scaling, you really feel it. Like it going from a 4/4 to a 6/6 or 4/4 and staying at a 4/4, huge difference. So I still think this is going to be a pretty decent card, but it's going to be a little bit more vulnerable to if it doesn't scale, it might not be competitive. Profit of the Boar, again, it's pretty clear that they are trying to target stuff early game that like has sort of this scaling value potential. The 4/3 Divine Shield, I think, was still really, really powerful. They seem to be keeping that, but they're nerfing the ability to get the blood gems early. So Profit of the Boar, going from a 2/3 to a 3/3, this kind of reminds me of Pack Leader, which they recently buffed. I don't think this is a huge deal. I think it being a 2/3 makes it worse. Again, it trades with the 2/3 rather than killing the 2/3, which, you know, there are a lot of early 2/3s, including this now. But I don't think this minion was a huge problem. I don't think the nerf is going to matter too much either. I still think this is a worthwhile card if you have some Quilboars. But it's not amazing. It's a fine nerf. I don't think it's the main problem card. I think this is much worse. I also think Banner Boar is much worse, and they did nerf it quite significantly. A 2/5 on 3, not bad. Might be able to get some decent trades. A 1/4, quite bad at that phase of the game, but it is going to enable your other minions. So it's going to give your minions Divine Shield if they have that ability, or it's going to give them +2/+2, which we'll get to. So I still think this card is decent if you have the right synergies, but before it was like insanely strong. There would be situations where I would have like good pairs that were say a 2-drop, and I would think to myself, should I freeze right now, or should I just try to find Banner Boar? Because Banner Boar is so good. So this card now getting way hard of a nerf, but you know, it's still going to be worth it if you have the right cards. I think the tricky thing with Banner Boar is that you don't buff Banner Boar much, and so going from a 2/5 to a 3/6 like didn't even happen that often, but that was a pretty big buff. Now going from a 1/4 to a 2/5, you just don't really want to invest resources into this. So I think this minion, like, this is a huge nerf, but I still think it's playable if you have it with other cards, especially if you have the Divine Shield 2-drop. So Bristleback Brute. This is a good nerf. I think this is still a good card. Again, this is basically like Hangry Dragon, but you know, you can control whether or not you get the buffs. Hangry Dragon's a 4/4. This is a 3/3. Both of them get +2/+2. I think this becomes not OP anymore, just good. But you know, if you have a Bristleback and a Banner Boar, you have 2 Bristlebacks, you get a 6/6 and then a 9/9. Like that's still really good scaling. So I think these move from being, oh my god, if you get 2 of these early game, you might just win the lobby or whatever, or get the strength to level up aggressively, etc. To these are a good card with synergies together. Ground Shaker, they're giving a very slight nerf to. This card actually is way better than I expected, and the main reason is because I kind of assumed it was a one-time effect for some reason, which obviously doesn't say that, but that's just how I was thinking. Like, I thought it was like a Metal Tooth Leaper that you cast in your whole board, but what it actually is often used for is you'll get a Ground Shaker and you'll do a bunch of blood gems on it so that you give your whole board like +10/+10 or something. And it's particularly good, I guess, because you're also buffing the Ground Shaker, which also gets attack buffs, etc. So now they're making it so that the Ground Shaker itself doesn't get buffed, which is a nerf, but I think this will still have a lot of utility. There's a lot of times where I'll have like a Battle Master or something else, and I'll think, man, as a 3/30, it's not that good, but if I get a Ground Shaker and a couple buffs, It's much more playable the next turn. And of course, this has good synergies with the Charga or whatever. So I think this is still very playable. It's just slightly worse. Dynamic Duo, probably the single most broken card in the entire set so far. And it's getting a significant nerf as a result. Kind of like almost cutting its stats in half, but keeping the effect. I think this is fine. I like that it's a minion that scales really aggressively if it's a 4-drop. I just don't think it should start fairly strong. And I think they're doing a decent job of that. A 3-4, not very good, but could very easily become like a 5-6 the turn that you buy it, because you usually have a couple blood gems in hand. So I still think this is going to be a playable minion. It's just not going to be like, again, because of how OP stuff is right now, you would have turns where you're just like, where's the dynamic duo? I need the dynamic duo. And then, Tess or the cat that would get what people, when people die, they'd get their stuff. They'd just be like, where's the dynamic duo? Where's the OP stuff? So this card will be much more fair. I like this nerf a lot. Bonker getting nerfed. 4-7 to a 3-7. I don't know. Like, I feel like Bonker is very impactful. It's hard to say really with this one. Like, I think Dynamic Duo needed a nerf. Bonker, I don't mind it being strong. I like the nerf for when it's a golden minion, where they're going to make it go from 2 blood gems to 1, but still give it Mega Wind Fury. This was a card that when you tripled it, you were getting like so much more value. Like an insane amount of value. You would just often have turns where you would fill your entire hand with blood gems if you were buffing this aggressively. And if you hadn't buffed it aggressively early on, you can always steal buffs from something else to make it a lot bigger. And you'd be getting like +5/+5 every turn, or +10/+10 every turn. So I think the attack nerf is significant. It's not the biggest deal. I think the triple nerf is actually a lot bigger. Either way, still a pretty solid card. We'll need a couple buffs to stay competitive. 3 attack is not enough, but it's a decent engine, and I think as an early triple, it's still very good. Then they nerfed Charga, which I actually think, as I said before in my previous video, that I don't think this card is the problem. It's all the other synergies. I'm sure they had stats that might have said otherwise, so I'm not gonna, doubt them. But this isn't a huge nerf either. It's all other friendly minions, actually. Okay, so that is a huge nerf. I feel like they didn't need to do this, to be honest. I think Charga on its own is basically like, give your whole board +1/+1, which, compared to Caligos, is better and worse in certain circumstances. It was a better early triple, but, there's still some times where Caligos's buffs were better. But the problem was that all the early Quilboars were so good that you just wanted to have Quilboars early. And once you got this was just even more of a snowball effect. But now, like, the Charga is going to stay really weak, so it kind of reminds me more of, like, a Light Fang. So instead of getting +2/+2 on all Menagerie minions, for a 6-drop, you get +1/+1. Like, this is way weaker. The fact that it could scale on its own also had synergies with Dynamic Duo, and, like, mostly Dynamic Duo. So it not gaining stuff, I don't know. Again, it just shows how egregiously powerful Dynamic Duo was. Now that'll give Dynamic Duo +1/+1 less, or more if you have 2 of them. I think if they wanted to nerf it, they could have just changed done this ability and not change the attack, personally. I think changing the attack just makes it a lot weaker, but at the same time, on its own, if you just change the attack, that's not going to do that much, because, like, look at Rag, right? They buffed him from a 4/4 to a 6/6. It didn't do anything. They turned the 8/1 taunt, the 5/1 taunt into an 8/1 taunt again. It didn't really do anything either. So, like, late game attack buffs, like going from a 4/4 to a 7/7, isn't nearly as impactful, but the fact that it stays a 4/4 is big. So yeah, and then in terms of buffs, yeah, there's a buff to fix Vol'jin's hero power. I haven't personally seen that, and it doesn't look like they fixed any other Battlegrounds bugs, which is a bit of a shame because there's still so many visual bugs. But yeah, I think they went hard against the Quilboars. They went very hard, but it was probably necessary. They're just too strong as is. Like, they're just insanely strong. It makes the game not really fun unless you get Quilboars. It's just not a good feeling. It also makes you feel like you can't play any other tribes. So going through it, I like this nerf. I don't like this nerf. I think this nerf is going to be very aggressive, but this was a very good minion. This is a great nerf. This is fine. This is a great nerf. This is good. I don't really care for this as much. And the Charga nerf seems completely unnecessary to me, but maybe I'm wrong. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Let me know if you guys have been having the same success with Quilboars that I've been having. And check out my stream. I haven't been streaming as much lately because I've been a bit busy with melee stuff, but I am going to be getting back into it. So check out my stream at twitch.tv/RadarSSBM. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.